Hi, you guys. Welcome back. And of course, if you are new to this channel, welcome. My name is Tracy, and in this video, I'm going to tell you guys about a 23-day exorcism that took place in Earling, Iowa in 1928. So stay tuned. As many of you know, I'm from Iowa, so anytime there is a spooky story that I can tell that comes from my home state, then I love to share it. And this story, coming from Earling, Iowa, is very spooky. In fact, it is so spooky that I'm going to give you a warning now that if you have children in the room, to maybe watch this video when they're not around. This is for mature audiences only. So I'm going to tell you guys all about an exorcism that took place in 1928 in the town of Earling, Iowa. At the time of the 2010 census, the town of Earling, Iowa had a population of only 437 people. So this is a very small town, even today. The town of Earling had its start when the Chicago, Milwaukee, and St. Paul Railway came through that area. The town was named Earling in 1882 in honor of Albert J. Earling, who was the division superintendent for the railway. Now, this story is all about who we know of as Anna Ecklund. But Anna Ecklund was actually born as Emma Schmidt in Wisconsin on March 23rd, 1882. And strangely, that is the same year that the town Earling was named Earling after Albert J. Earling. So she was born the same year as the town of Earling. Anyway, so Emma lived pretty much a normal life there in Marathon, Wisconsin. She was raised in a Catholic household and attended church services regularly. She was actually a very religious child, and she enjoyed her religion and being spiritual, reading the Bible, things like that. And so it was in her teen years that she began to experience these very dark, negative thoughts. And at that time in her life, it was still very early on, but she even began to become repulsed by the church and even was physically unable to enter the church anymore due to the extreme repulsion that she felt towards the structure. Now, they did believe that this was quite strange because, as I stated, she was raised in this Catholic household and actually willingly participated in the religion with her family. No one really knows what had caused Emma Schmidt to become so tormented throughout her life, even in her early life. And it is actually believed that her Aunt Mina placed a spell on her by actually putting a curse on the herbs that she would use in the food that she would feed to Emma, and thereby causing her to become possessed. It is also believed that Emma's father may have actually had some type of very inappropriate relationship with his daughter at one time. And since the Aunt Mina was also Emma's father's lover, Aunt Mina became a little bit jealous of Emma, allegedly, and began to put this spell on the herbs, the curse on the herbs that she would use on the food that Emma would eat. So it is quite possible that Emma was being possessed due to her own aunt and father and their relationship. But who really knows? So anyway, as the time kind of progresses, Emma begins to experience some very sexual thoughts as well. And she actually kind of is experiencing some perversion in her thinking. So it's almost like her thoughts are becoming more and more dark, filled with more and more sin, at least as far as what she would believe is very sinful, as she would subscribe to the Catholic religion in her early life, actually in her entire life. So anyway, later on, she actually did seek help from the Catholic Church on more than one occasion. So before her famous 23-day exorcism in Earling, Iowa, she actually did already seek help once from a Catholic priest who was able to seemingly help her, but then she was tormented once again with these dark thoughts and this dark energy in her life that made her also repulsed by anything religious or connected to God or her spirit. Now, it was in 1928 when the Roman Catholic priest Theophilus, I believe is how you say his name, Theophilus Reisinger, was contacted once again. And he was contacted in regards to Emma and her possession. Now, I'm not real sure why her name was changed to Anna Ecklund, but there was a movie made all about this exorcism that took place in 1928. And that movie was called The Exorcism of Anna Ecklund. And I actually tried to find that movie so that I could watch it while preparing for this video, but I was not able to find it. So here we are anyway. Since they did change her name, I'm not real sure if it's because that's what she preferred or not. For the rest of this video, I will be calling Emma Schmidt by the name Anna Ecklund. So, in 1928, Anna Ecklund was sent to the Franciscan Sisters Convent in Earling, Iowa, with the hopes that being in a house of God, that this would also help her to, rid her of this demonic possession that she seems to be having. Now, while in the convent, it actually made things a little worse for Anna, because the nuns who lived in the convent actually wanted to kind of test the demonic spirit that lived inside of Anna. And so these nuns would do certain things, such as sprinkling her food with holy water, in the hopes that this would help her. But really, this would make her angry. She would fling her food across the room, and even though the nuns would do this practice of sprinkling the food with holy water outside of Anna's view, she would always know if the food was sprinkled with holy water, because it really kind of wasn't Anna anymore. It was now a full possession of this demonic energy that's living inside of her. So anyway, the demon would sense that the nun had sprinkled the holy water on the food and throw a huge fit, and it would actually make matters worse for everyone involved. There were actually some nuns who even left and never came back after Anna Ecklund had stayed in this convent. And even today, the convent in Earling, Iowa, no longer exists. Now, I'm not real sure why it doesn't exist anymore, but I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't because of what took place in that convent in 1928. It was probably a very hot time of year because I know for a fact that living in Iowa, August is a very hot month in Iowa and very humid as well. So Anna was sent to live in this convent on August 17th of 1928. So on top of being possessed and having all of that going on, it's probably very hot in this convent, to tell you the truth, being in August in Iowa. Now, this exorcism that ended up taking place was led by Father Joseph Steiger of Earling, Iowa, along with the friend, the priest Reisinger. So they were both kind of there to do the exorcism or kind of supervise what was going on. Now, this was a very grueling process for Anna especially, because during these exorcisms, when they were like actually actively trying to exorcise the demon out of her, she would refuse to eat. And so there would be times where she was looking so thin and frail, and she would simply be like levitating above the bed, as noted by the nuns within the convent. But then there were also other times where Anna seemed to be super heavy, even though she hadn't eaten a thing, and her body would actually sink into the bed that she was lying in, as though she weighed much more than she actually did. So all of these strange things were just happening the entire time that she was staying in this convent. Some other things that were reported was that Anna was continuously vomiting this very odorous and vile substance that's like green. And these nuns were constantly bringing buckets of this vomit out of Anna's room. But even though she hadn't eaten anything at all, this just kept on spewing out of her body. So that was something that was definitely unexplained, and it was extremely uncomfortable for everyone involved, especially like not only Anna, the one who's possessed and this is happening to, but think of these poor nuns who have to clean up this disgusting, smelly, vile vomit that is coming out of this possessed individual. I mean, everyone is being traumatized at this point. The first session of Anna Ecklund's exorcism actually lasted until August 26th. And then, of course, you know, the priests and everyone just kind of needed a break, I think, or something, because they did this in 3 sessions. So the second exorcism session actually occurred between September 13th and September 20th. And then that was followed by the final 8-day session that lasted from December 15th to December 23rd of 1928. So obviously, Anna was staying at this convent for quite some time and going through all of this horrifying stuff with all of these people involved as well. So during this entire ordeal, Anna Ecklund was very violent. She would howl and make other frightening noises that were almost unexplained to be coming from her small body. So on top of that, and on top of the levitating and then seemingly heavy weight that would be put on her at different times, there was also one point where it was reported that Anna Ecklund actually flew across the room and landed on the ceiling and wall above the doorway, where she actually stayed, as though she didn't even care that gravity exists. Anna Ecklund's body really deteriorated quickly during these exorcism sessions. On top of vomiting the foul-smelling vomit, she would also seemingly vomit things such as tobacco leaves, or what looked to be tobacco leaves, out of her as well. Now, on top of that, her body would swell to like twice its size at some points, and her lips and face would be so swollen that you wouldn't even be able to recognize her. And then there were some times where she looked starved and sunken in. And so not only all of this, she was very violent, like we already stated, and she would say the meanest things to everyone in the room during these exorcism sessions. There were even times where Anna Ecklund would speak languages that were unknown to her in her normal life. And she would speak such ancient languages as Latin with simple ease, as though she spoke it fluently. So the priest involved in the exorcism did ask the demons that were residing inside of Anna Ecklund to make themselves known by name, and that they should tell them their name as they leave, as well as a confirmation that these demons were actually leaving. So it was on December 23rd, where it was the final day of the exorcism. And so finally, Father Reisinger commanded the demons in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Father Reisinger finally exorcised the demons with the help of the Holy Spirit. He commanded them by stating, "Depart, ye fiends of hell, begone, Satan." And after Father Reisinger actually commanded the demons to leave, that is when they found out their name. After Father Reisinger commanded these demons out of Anna Ecklund, Anna fell to the bed and began to shriek, a disgusting sounding shriek. And as she was shrieking, she began to speak. And what they heard was Beelzebub, Judas, Jacob, Mina. After they listed all these names, so Judas, as well as Beelzebub and Mina and Jacob. And by the way, Jacob is the name of Emma Schmidt's father. So Anna's father. And Mina was the name of the aunt. So Aunt Mina and the father are involved, at least in the name. And so after all those names were listed, Anna said, "Hell, hell, hell." And when she opened her eyes, she spoke in her own normal voice. When she actually woke up speaking in her voice, the words that she said was, "My Jesus, mercy." And so she praised Jesus when she was finally able to wake up and have full conscious power of her mind and body once again. Now, after this exorcism and after this final day on December 23rd of 1928, Anna Ecklund was able to move on and live basically a fairly normal life. Anna Ecklund's story is terrifying, mostly because she becomes unable to control her own mind, which led to full possession by evil demonic spirits. The most terrifying thing about these stories is that honestly, without mental discipline, this can happen to anyone. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below, and we can kind of discuss it. Do you believe that people can become possessed by demonic spirits? Well, that about wraps it up for this video. So if you like this video, be sure to click that like button. And of course, if you're a viewer but not yet a subscriber, I am inviting you now to click subscribe right under this video. And once you have subscribed, you can then click the bell to receive notification each and every time that I upload a new video. Thank you guys so much for watching and spending your time with me. I love you. And I'll see you next time. Bye.